Ho ho ho, Santa Kakis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we are going to be discussing the fact that the Destiny community is on track to fail the dawning 2020 unless Bungie intervenes. And so, let's get started. But just before we do, it's Wednesday, and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, myself, True Vanguard, and MTashed host the Real Gamer Hour podcast, where we talk about the craziest things of the last week in gaming. Guys, Cyberpunk 2077 got removed from the PlayStation Store. Twitch is facing an international incident regarding its bannings. It's gonna be wild today, so definitely come check it out. It's linked in the description down below. You won't regret it. Alright, now let's talk about what's going on in the dawning 2020. And I want to make something clear. This is not a video that's going to, just crap on the dawning, because I think overall this was a pretty decent event, mainly from the perspective of rewards. If you look back at a lot of the Destiny limited time events, they are severely lacking when compared to this year's dawning. Often we don't even get new loot. It'll be recycled loot, even it's the exact same piece of loot as the year before. But the dawning 2020 did nothing of the sort. We had a brand new weapon to chase with the Glacioclasm Fusion Rifle, and that weapon in and of itself is actually desirable. It can get some cracked PvP rolls especially, and people are actually wanting to get a good Glacioclasm god roll. That is fantastic, and we did have some weapons reintroduced with the Cold Front SMG and the Avalanche Machine Gun, but they came back with totally new random rolls. This should absolutely be the standard going forward for these limited time events. We should always have one new weapon to chase, and the old weapons returning with some of the new perks added to their perk pools so they can get some new random rolls. Perhaps the god rolls change year to year. That actually drums up some excitement for these events. I know myself getting a Cold Front with Dragonfly. In fact, funny enough, within the gameplay I was capturing for this video, I actually got the Cold Front I really wanted with Surplus plus Dragonfly. Now, there is kind of a question whether or not Bungie's going to keep that Dragonfly perk in the game, because this is actually unintentional. Did a video on that, it's linked up above. But if they do, this event is a win across the board for just being a great actual source of interesting limited time loot for Destiny players. So with all of that being said, what's the problem? How are we going to fail this event? Well, it comes down to Dawning Spirit Generation. You know, that random reward that kind of pops up every once in a while when you turn in bounties, bake cookies, etc. Well, it's actually linked to the overall presence that we were getting. Now, this was something that we did not have in previous years. This just started with 2020, and as the community Dawning Spirit grows, we can go and get different little, dawning engrams. We unlock different presents that we can get. The last one gave one of the dawning exclusive weapons, which was cool. As you can see, we're, 50% or whatever the way towards the next purple reward, and there's actually an exotic tier reward after that. However, thanks to two very astute members of the community, Parasito and Bachmanetti, who have been sharing their findings on Dawning Spirit with the world on Twitter, we can see that things are not going well. Looking at Bachmanetti's graph right here, we can see that based on the amount of Dawning Spirit the community is generating, the dawning is going to end before we get to the overwhelming gift. And this even accounted for yesterday's huge jump at reset. In fact, we can see that in this graph right here. Pay attention to the green bar. It jumps when people are all getting on for reset. But as you can see right here, we need to average 54 million spirit a day to actually achieve the goal of the overwhelming gift. And even with the reset buff, it was 53 million, and he said it would likely get lower, and it really did. So here's the latest results here. The current daily progress is sitting at 28 million, and we need 54 million. So definitely the interest in this event, the Dawning Spirit generation, is significantly lower than Bungie predicted. But that makes things a little bit weird, and also, if I'm being honest, a little bit annoying. Again, this is not something that is a yearly tradition. If it was, I wouldn't be saying this. It would be like, yep, Dawning Spirit generation, let's go everyone. But this is something that almost feels like tacked on. Like, why do we need to have this community goal where it feels like you as an individual don't matter? You could be grinding your butt off for Dawning Spirit generation and it just doesn't have any effect on these daily totals. So you're missing out. Even if you're playing a ton, you're missing out on loot because Bungie had to shoehorn in this weird community goal that no one was expecting and no one really cares about, and then massively overestimated how much people would be playing. Like, this is also especially weird because, like, Bungie made this goal when they thought that Cyberpunk would be actually playable. So there'd be even more people not playing the game. Think of how many people are playing right now only because they got refunded Cyberpunk on the PlayStation 4, for example. So, like, what was Bungie thinking? And I also believe that this whole thing was not explained very well. I mean, the Dawning was kind of announced with the TWAB that only came out a few days before the Dawning launched. So you only have a few days to disseminate this information to the community. And the whole Dawning Spirit thing, again, even if you are a veteran player, that's new this year. And we don't have a lot of knowledge on what these rewards will actually offer. If Bungie came out and said, yep, when we get to that final tier of Dawning reward, the reward is everyone gets an anarchy, you bet the Dawning Spirit regeneration would be absolutely flying up, right? But no one knows, and so it's hard to care. Also, did you know that if you're using your Dawning ship, you actually generate additional Dawning Spirit every time you get an ingredient? Like, I didn't know that initially, and it's something, again, that wasn't really explained that well by Bungie, and so a lot of people just aren't doing it. And one more thing is that events like this are not something that actually really favors casual players, in the sense that if you are not farming Dawning Essence through one of the kind of cheesy methods, I've done a video on that if you want to go see how to absolutely yeet your Dawning Essence through the roof. If you're just doing like normal strikes, a normal strike, and the strike playlist will give you about 16, 17 Essence of Dawning. That is enough for one cookie. Now, and as you can see, when I was spamming cookies to Zavala in this gameplay, you average one package which contains one of the new weapons every 10 or so cookies. So that means 10 strikes. 10. Alright, maybe 9 if you're getting really lucky and always getting like 18, maybe 19 essence. And then you can get one Dawning weapon reward. Why is that? Why is it like one cookie that you can bake coming out of an entire strike activity? You only need to do 3 strikes to get a piece of pinnacle loot, but you gotta do 9 or 10 to get one Dawning weapon. Like, why? Now again, it's much faster if you're doing an actual strat for farming essence specifically, but if you're just a casual player, casually playing the game and doing normal activities, you're going to find that you don't actually generate that much essence and therefore that much rewards. So it's no wonder that they're not super thrilled to hop on and spend, 10 different strikes trying to get one Dawning reward. Of course, they've just stopped playing. I think Bungie needs to be a lot more generous with those big activities. Make strikes give 30. 2 cookies per strike, I think, is super reasonable. Crucible games need to be 30 as well. Because I know what Bungie is doing in terms of encouraging people to play the game more and more, and then you get extra rewards based on top of that, but it gets to the point where it's a little too grindy and players are just, not interested. But here's the real question. Will Bungie intervene? Will they double or triple the amount of Dawning Spirit that people are generating, or are they going to let us fail? That's going to be a really interesting thing to see, because we've had community events like this in the past where Bungie has had to intervene because we were embarrassingly behind. So that's going to be interesting. Or is there already like a pre-built-in booster event at the end? Like, will it be where the last week of Dawning is here and now it's 5 times or 10 times the Dawning Spirit generation? That could be the case, which would negate this. But then if Bungie keeps doing that, then no one's gonna care about these activities, because it's like, all right, well, we know that the community always fails, and then there's a last ditch effort, and so I'm just gonna log on to the last week and get 10 times the essence. So it's really gonna be interesting to see what happens in the future. But regardless, things ain't going well for the Dawning right now. Guys, that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.